So, how does one actually find their fit? Is something I have been asked time and again when I use that phrase, find your fit. Hey, and welcome. I'm Deanna. I am your host today for not just today, but today and every day for Find Your Fit with Deanna. We're at episode 5 and speaking specifically today about some of the variables, some of the things that you can explore to help you find your fit if you haven't yet found what is right for you with a movement practice. So, why and where does this idea come from? And so that is, I have been in the fitness field for 26, 27 years now, and really have found frustration from so many people about wanting to be active, wanting to get moving, improving their health, etc., trying according to a particular class, plan, whatever the case is, and then by their own words, failing. Now, first and foremost, there's nothing wrong with failing, right? We try something, it doesn't work. It's just a nudge to direct us to try something different or try a different direction. So that's the first thing I want you to think about. There's nothing wrong with failing, right? That is the thing that's going to help us get to where we actually need to go to find our fit, right? So today, here's what I want you to think about. I want you to dig into what it is you actually want. So first, if you are looking for, let's say, a particular fitness goal, and so that may be something such as running a certain number of kilometers, right? Or lifting a certain amount of weight, competing in a certain sport. If you have something really specific, such as one of those goals or something like that, then there are going to be really detailed guidelines that you're going to need to follow. So if somebody's training for a marathon, for example, we can't willy-nilly that. We can't just sort of say, hey, I'll try this. And if that doesn't work, I'll try. You really need a specific plan because the event is something specific. There's a performance outcome attached. Okay. So really, that's not what the focus of this series is, and not really a large focus for the folks that I work with. I have a couple of athletes, of course, we stay specific in our things, but generally we really look at just trying to get moving, overall being stronger, healthier, more mobile, being able to move with ease, etc. So that's what we're talking about today, right? Is how do I find your fit? So let me ask you some wellness coaching based questions. Wellness coaching being different than personal training. Personal training is designing, delivering, cueing a particular exercise program. Whereas wellness coaching is really helping draw out or evoke from, that was sort of creepy, right? Evoke from you the ideas that you have, the goals that you want, and how you're going to go about to do achieving those goals. And then we create a bit of an action plan, right? Step by step that'll be delivered or followed, let's say, by you. So there's a little difference in there. So wellness coach questions we're going to start with. If you're struggling to find your fit, let me ask you, what have you done before that has worked? So think back, and that could be back to yesterday, 1 week ago, a decade ago, a year ago, whatever the case is. What has worked for you that got you moving more regularly? Maybe it's exactly as you want. Maybe you're thinking, goodness, 5 years ago, I was doing this, and that's where I want to get back to. Or maybe you've actually never found that experience. And so you're thinking about what in your mind are you thinking, like, this is sort of the ideal. This is where I would be really happy in terms of being able to engage in that fitness practice 3 days a week or 5 days a week. Or I would really like to be able to, lift my dog with ease. What is the sort of idea that you're thinking about, right? And so what has worked for you in the past to get you in that situation? And again, if you don't have that, that is okay, right? That's it. Here's the other piece. If in your head you stirred up a whole bunch of judgment and you were like, yeah, I tried this, I was so bad at that, that's not what we're looking for, right? No good's going to come of that. And that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for facts. The fact is, this particular thing worked for a while, or the fact is, you haven't yet found something. Just facts, right? Let's take the emotion out of the neutral facts. So, what hasn't worked for you? And that's really important too, because if you know, for example, At one point in time, you had a trainer that made you a program in the weight room, in a particular gym, and in a certain location in the city. And if you know you had tried your best, but you know that the location was too far away, for example, or it didn't have childcare, or it just wasn't your kind of vibe. Like if you know that that doesn't work, then it's really important to make sure you keep those things top of mind. Again, no judgment. It just simply didn't work. And I use this analogy often to say, if you make dinner and it flops, we've all been there, it's not like you never make dinner again, right? And some folks will say, oh yeah, but I have to eat. You know what? We also have to move. So we want to think about, I made dinner, it flopped. Okay, it is what it is. I will just adjust the recipe, try something new, etc. I want you to think the same of your fitness. There's no nothing yet you've done wrong. It's just to say that particular thing didn't work, like that program wasn't for me, or the gym was too far, etc. Right? So think about the things that didn't work for you, because that will help narrow the list of things you could try next. Okay, so what worked before? What didn't work before? Here's a revolutionary idea or thought or question. It shouldn't be, but it is. What do you like to do? Here's the piece, right? A lot of times we have folks saying, hey, I want to make this change, that change, I want to get more active. And it's about pulling in the science. I love the science, right? And it's pulling in the science of like, okay, if you want to get to this amount of strength, we've got to overload, and there's a plan. Of course there is. And we can make you the best plan. Your fitness professional can make you an stellar program. But if you don't like it, you're not going to do it. So what do you like? What do you like to do? What don't you like to do? If you know you don't like to exercise in groups, okay, that's great. That's great to know. If you know you don't like to exercise alone, that's also great to know, right? What do you like? What don't you like? Those are really important things. Much as, let's use another food analogy because we love talking about food. Food, yes, is to nourish our body, supply us energy, etc. And food is meant to be enjoyed, right? Sitting down to eat is meant to be an enjoyable experience. Fitness, movement, yes, we need to move for our health, our wellness, etc. And I'm going to revolutionize that idea again to say, you know what? Movement practice is meant to be enjoyed. Okay? If that is something that you have had an experience in or experiences in your life that it was not enjoyable for many reasons, there could be so many reasons tied to that, then your starting point, I might gently suggest, is not something that you really did not enjoy, something that was possibly used as, let's say, punishment, was used to shame. Your movement was, used to say, hey, you had to earn your whatever, like all of that toxicity that surrounds fitness experiences is one of the reasons that people don't want to move. So I'm going to invite you to just think about, put those things aside. Maybe even right now, if they're on your list of things that you like to do, just could you put them aside for a moment? Just think about, what is it? Like, have you always wanted to learn to swim or skate, or you've always wanted to rock climb, or you've always wanted to hike? I don't know what that is for you. I want you to think about, what have you always wanted to try? What would be enjoyable? What would be fun? Okay, so you've got a couple things to begin to think about. Now, here are some other variables that are really key in making sure you find your fit. So making sure that it fits you, not you having to throw everything out, start again, and sort of fit a movement practice. And I know that's the way a lot of programs might work, that they're fairly, what's the word I'm looking for? They're fairly maybe extreme in the amount of commitment that they're asking, sort of giving that idea of like fully immerse yourself. There's value to that. And for some people that works. And my gut feeling right now is you're not still listening at like 8 or 9 minutes in. If you're like, nope, I'm a 75 hard kind of person, I want to be told what to do and I have to follow probably you're not still hanging in. So if you're still hanging in with me, thank you. And my gut feeling is that really strict idea, extreme idea, probably isn't for you. So what is really important though, is we think about some of these other variables that we want to consider when we're choosing what we're going to do. So what does your time look like? So what I mean by that is like, how much time do you have to devote to a fitness practice? Now, this isn't to say, oh, I could, give you, if you've ever seen, anyway, I'll refer to what I think it was the movie Dumb and Dumber. Have you seen the 8-minute abs? Or anyway, I digress. So it's not to say, hey, I can get you fit in 5 minutes. That's not what I mean. If you're like, I want to run a marathon, I can give you 5 minutes a week. That is not going to happen. We need to negotiate. Okay. What I mean is, what is realistic time that you can dedicate that's going to be enough time of value, right? And so 5 minutes once a week, probably not going to get you moving, not going to form a habit, that's for sure. So what have you got? Do you have 10 minutes 5 days a week? Do you have 20 minutes 3 days a week, right? What does it look like for you? And I don't want you to say, oh, I could fit in 5 hours a week. And you know that that's not really, I know that's what you want to do, but is that realistic for your schedule? What is the schedule? What does your time availability look like? So how much time do you feel? And if you're not sure, if you're thinking, I don't know, I feel like I'm just like picking an apple from a tree randomly going, I don't know, 20 minutes, then I would really invite you to just take a quick overview of your week. Like if you have a calendar that you use, flip back a couple of weeks and just look like, where did I spend my time? Where were there any gaps? What did it actually look like? And if you're not sure, maybe you don't keep that type of calendar, then over the next week or so, jot that down. Okay. Or even just leave yourself a voice note, right? To say, from I don't know, 4 o'clock to 4:15 each day seems to be, a time that I get home and my kiddos just want to sort of chill out, or whatever the case is. I don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like for you. And so I want you to think about what's realistic in your time. What does the schedule look like? This is a bit different than your time. I want you to think about, what does your day look like in terms of like, when do you have to get up? When do you get up in the morning? I'm not going to say you have to be part of the 5 a.m. club. That works for many people. It also doesn't work for people. So if you've never tried getting up earlier, I'd invite you to try that. It does mean you have to go to bed earlier, right? Here's the mistake people make. They're like, I'm just going to start getting up an hour earlier, but they didn't adapt the other end. They didn't think about the night before. So now they're just tired. Why would we stick to a change in a movement practice if all we have gotten out of it is more tired, right? You're probably already tired, right? We don't need more fatigue in there. So it's to say, if you've never tried that, maybe it's worth a shot, right? Maybe it's worth a shot. I want you to commit to it in terms of whatever time you're going to choose. So what does your schedule look like? Do you think it's more possible for you to get up a little bit earlier, or I don't know, carve out a bit of time in the day, or after, or evening? Like, again, you've got to look at the schedule, what's realistic that you can do on a regular basis. Okay, so you're looking at your time availability, your schedule, and where's your overflow? Where is your, the wheels fell off the wagon, or I don't know, whatever the wheels fell off everything. And what will I open up? So for example, I run my own business. I teach at a couple of different colleges. Life is busy. I love all of it. And I really do my best to not work on Sundays. If things go a little bit differently, I'm maybe not feeling well, or something happens, or it's a particular busy time with assignments for my students, or whatever the case is, then I actually know my overflow is Sunday morning. I'm going to have to work Sunday morning that week, because my best laid plans don't always work. There's got to be a little overflow that you really don't just automatically assume. Like, I don't just go, nah, I don't want to mark, assignments today. I'll just do it on Sunday. That's not what I mean. This emergency time is saved for that particular thing. Okay. If there was, I don't know, an emergency vet visit or doctor visit or something that sort of derailed the day, that's what I'm going to use that overflow time. And I really invite you to think about that for movement practice as well. Finally, I strive to keep these 15 minutes and under. I know you're busy. If you've never noticed, you can actually speed up the replay time in many Zoom things as well. This was filmed in Zoom, but of course uploaded, as you know, to YouTube. You can also speed up your playback time with the little cogwheel that you see in the corner. Click that, it'll say playback speed. You can increase it. I know I already talk fast, so that might not be right for you, but it is an option if you want to get through some of these things quicker. So the last thing I want you to think about, who are the key players in this whole movement practice? So who relies on you or is connected with you that may be impacted to you changing your schedule, or impacted with you changing your schedule. So if you have kiddos, a pet that you, regularly walk or cuddle with, or whatever the case is, if you have a partner, your parent, your whoever that is, like, who are the people that you need to talk to say, this is really, because this is a step that I see a lot of folks miss. People are really wanting to make that change. And then maybe they haven't expressed that to their partner. And so it's not that the partner's like, oh, I'm not on board with that. They're just taken off guard a little bit when all of a sudden it's like, oh, I need you to walk the dog because I'm going to go and do my weight workout. It's not that they're against it. It's just that they didn't know. So make sure if you have somebody in your life that this change is going to impact, I invite you to speak with them about how important this is to you and what does it look like. Okay, let's negotiate, work together. Again, you've got to have all your folks on board. And more often than not, like, I truly believe that people are doing the best that they can with the current skills, tools, and abilities they have. And when we are caught off guard with another demand on our already really demanding schedules, it can sort of take us aback. So remember, we can't expect things of others if we haven't actually shared our expectations. So if you have a partner that you need to watch the kiddos a little bit more, or walk the dog, or whatever the case is, or maybe you're just going to be, not watching an extra episode of whatever you've been watching on Netflix, right? Because you want to go and do your workout. Make sure that you chat with them about that, how important that is. Chat with them about what that looks like and how can they support you. Do they want to jump in? Do they want to come along for this fitness ride? Is there something you can spell off dog walking at another time so that they can go and do a workout maybe they want to, right? You'll be really surprised at when we start to share things like that, how often our partners are like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. Yeah, I'll support you. We just sometimes aren't the best at communicating what it is that we're after. So a couple of things to think about there. All right. So that was a lot. There was a lot of nuggets of things for you to think about. Which one of those, of the, sort of 6 or 7 things we spoke about, which one speaks the loudest to you? Which one feels possible? Which one have you never thought about before? I'd like you to pick one and get started with that. Percolate on that a little bit. Maybe it's making some notes, writing in a journal. Maybe it's just thinking about it, right? Whatever the case is, to get the ball rolling, to get you moving towards finding your fit. As always, message me if you have questions, comments, of course, you can comment below. Message me at Deanna at deannalangfordcoaching.com. Pop over to my website, deannalangfordcoaching.com. Always subscribe, share. Those things are always appreciated. As you know, they do mean the world to a small business, and the family that backs up the small business as the way it goes. So I am cheering you on to find your fit, and I will see you soon.